address to your emergency?
By the 4th Street Laundromat.
What is it?
4th Street Laundromat.
What's the problem?
I've been abducted.
Who abducted you?
Sean Green.
You said John Green?
Sean Great.
Where's he at now?
Asleep.
Where's he sleeping at?
In the bedroom.
In what bedroom?
There's 2 houses right by the laundry street. And it's in one of those houses.
What color?
The room was quiet when the phone rang. It was a Thursday afternoon, the kind of ordinary day that never hints at anything unusual. Maria, a mother living in Arizona, was sorting laundry when her phone buzzed with an unknown number. She almost ignored it. Almost. But something in her gut told her to pick up. She lifted the phone to her ear, and everything stopped. A trembling voice cried out, "Mom, please help me." It was her daughter's voice. Her tone. Her pitch. Her breathing pattern. It sounded exactly like her. There was no hesitation. No robotic effect. No digital glitch. It was real. Too real. "Mom, they have me, please?" And then a man's voice cut in. "Listen carefully. We have your daughter. Do not call the police." Maria felt her heart squeeze inside her chest. Her knees weakened. For a moment she couldn't breathe. She didn't think, she reacted. Because when you hear your child screaming for help, your brain stops analyzing reality. Instinct takes over. But in reality, her daughter was completely safe, sitting in her school cafeteria, laughing with her friends. The voice Maria heard wasn't her daughter. It was AI. Artificial intelligence. A cloned voice. Extracted from a 10-second clip posted on social media over a year earlier. This wasn't a theoretical danger. This wasn't a hacker movie. This wasn't a futuristic warning. This was now. This was real. And this was only the beginning. The rise of a new kind of crime. Around the world, parents have been getting phone calls like this. Calls designed to trigger panic before critical thinking. The scammers use advanced AI tools capable of imitating a person's voice with terrifying accuracy. Not a simulation. Not a close resemblance. A perfect clone. Investigators describe this shift as one of the fastest-growing digital crimes in the last decade. The technology that once required Hollywood budgets is now openly available online. Easy to access, easy to learn, and extremely cheap. A laptop, an internet connection, and a short voice recording. That's all it takes. The line between real and artificial is disappearing, and criminals know it. And unlike traditional scams, these ones target the most vulnerable point of all. Human emotion. Fear. Panic. Love. Protectiveness. The people behind these scams understand that when a parent hears a cry for help, logic becomes irrelevant. The emotional brain takes over and decisions become fast, desperate, automatic. This is why the crime spreads so quickly. And why victims hardly ever see it coming. A dangerous shift in cybercrime. Not long ago, scammers relied on emails or poorly written messages. They impersonated banks, delivery services, relatives, but with obvious flaws. You could usually tell something was off. But today, things are different. AI changed everything. The same technology that powers realistic movie dubbing, language translation, and creative tools is now being weaponized. Criminals use it too. Clone voices recreate speech patterns, generate emotional cries, add background noise to mimic real environments, manipulate caller ID to appear local, fake urgency, craft realistic scripts. And worst of all, they target parents because it's effective. These scammers don't need sophistication. They just need a few seconds of audio. A TikTok video. A class presentation online. A school event where a child spoke publicly. A birthday message posted by the family. Anything. Once they have the voice, it takes less than 60 seconds to generate a clone. The result? A phone call that feels real enough to break a person psychologically in seconds. Real cases emerge worldwide. The FBI, Europol, and multiple cybersecurity agencies have issued warnings. The cases are spreading internationally. Case 1, the Arizona mother. The incident with Maria is based on a real case reported early last year. The scammers demanded money and claimed they kidnapped her daughter. She was seconds away from transferring the payment when she called the school and discovered her daughter was safe. No kidnapping. No danger. Just AI. Case 2, the Canadian father. A man in Ontario received a distress call supposedly from his teenage son, claiming he was arrested and needed immediate bail money. The voice was a perfect match, but the son was in class. Case 3, the Australian grandmother. A grandmother received a call from her granddaughter, saying she was hurt. The voice cracked with pain. But the entire thing was artificial. Case 4, the UK family. A family in Manchester received a false ransom call using their son's voice, a voice cloned from a gaming livestream. None of these cases involved physical danger. None involved violence. But all of them were emotionally devastating. The psychology of panic. When investigators studied these cases, they discovered something critical. Most victims described the same experience, a sudden, overwhelming rush of fear. It didn't matter how logical they were, how educated, or how skeptical. AI voice cloning bypasses logic. It attacks the human brain at its emotional core. Parents are wired to react to danger instantly. When they hear what sounds like their child crying, screaming, or pleading, the reaction is immediate. Their breathing changes. Their heart rate jumps. Rational thinking shuts down. Scammers rely on this. They apply pressure techniques learned from previous kidnapping scams. Do not contact anyone. Do not tell the police. We are watching you. Act quickly or it will be too late. But now, the emotional trigger, the voice, is far more convincing. This is why the crime is spreading so rapidly. This is why investigators consider it one of the most psychologically destructive scams ever created. The new face of fear. For decades, parents feared strangers at the door, suspicious vans, unsafe neighborhoods. But today, digital threats travel silently, invisibly, and globally. AI voice cloning creates a new kind of fear. Fear you cannot verify immediately. Fear that feels real. Fear that targets the heart. Phones used to bring comfort. A quick call from your child, a check-in, a familiar voice. Now, that same voice can be artificially reconstructed by someone thousands of miles away. And the worst part? There is no visual confirmation. Everything happens fast. The emotional shock is overwhelming. This is why the crime works. And this is why the crime spreads. Why this documentary matters. This is not a horror story. This is not science fiction. This is not a far future prediction. This documentary exists because every parent, teen, and young adult needs to understand how this scam works. The more people know, the fewer victims criminals will have access to. The series will break down how the technology works, how criminals find the audio, how they plan the scam, what investigators have discovered, warning signs to look for, how to protect yourself, why this crime is spreading globally, what the future of AI scams may look like. Our goal is simple: awareness. Because fear loses its power when we understand it.